The snake guy said to get there early if I wanted to see a feeding. He was going to be defrosting a dead rat and jiggling it around in front of a 12-foot python. But I wasn't too worried about that, because I was really more interested in seeing the snake guy himself. Or, as they call themselves, the avid herpetologists. Pete was an avid herpetologist who had called me to tell me about some kind of Bay Area Amphibian and Reptile Society, acronym BARS, thing that was coming up. But I didn't really want to see that either. I wanted to see Pete in his natural habitat. Yeah. See, I've met snake guys before. Snake guys, they're not always good guys and they're not always bad guys, but snake guys are always interesting guys. Pretty accurate snake guy stereotype. Wide age range, 20s to 50s, often with an unkempt beard, generally white, sometimes Hispanic. Working class, often a motorcycle owner, rarely married, but always straight. Snake guys dug tattoos way before you did, and they're into blades, man. A sheath buck knife on the belt, or a cyst-opening tanto, and they hang fantasy swords with chrome rhinestone-studded hilts on their walls. Also, a snake guy typically does not keep a tidy home. And listen, I'm not bad-mouthing. I was once a young snake guy in training. I grew up running those East Bay hills and often came home with a king snake or a gopher snake. And one time I even had a run-in with a big-ass, mean-ass rattler. It was beer can thick. I couldn't even tell how long. It darted out from a rock I'd lifted while, looking for scorpions. And like the big snake slithered into some dead logs near the Chabot rifle range faster than you can say Ricky Tikki Tavi. Tail making that telltale noise of nearby death, like maracas filled with scaly hate and venom. And from its pit viper face, a most vicious hiss that sounded less like sss than like the devil himself trying to hawk up a hell of a loogie. So yeah, I knew a snake. I liked a snake. And for years, I'd relentlessly and unthinkingly chase a snake on sight, dog after squirrel. But at some point, I guess I got more interested in the snake guys than the snakes themselves. Pete met me outside his garage in the Hayward Flats. He was a lean and youthful 49, wearing a T-shirt emblazoned with a coiled-up diamondback in the midst of a trapdoor, mouth-folding fangs full on strike. He had a chopper motorbike with a menacing chrome cobra machoing up the sissy bar. And on the wall was a poster of a nude, busty woman wearing only a boa, the kind with scales, not feathers. Now, Pete was a fine specimen of a snake guy with a couple intriguing incongruities. No beard. Place was picked up all right. And he's black. And he seemed to get a kick out of being a black snake guy. Do I look like what you were expecting, he asked. And I told him that, well, he had the T-shirt, the badass motorcycle, naked pinup girl. So yeah, his credentials seemed pretty solid. He showed me his collection, from a tank full of squirming baby bull snakes next to his bed to the 12-foot pythons. About 30 snakes total, all colors and sizes, but pretty much one shape. I was born in Bayou country in Louisiana, said Pete. I grew up learning about snakes through folk tales. You ever heard of a Louisiana snake folk tale? They're apparently designed to scar a young brain for life, often involving a single behemoth serpent and its nighttime raids on baby cribs, or hidden massive piles of tiny little snakes, all deadly poisonous and ready to be stepped on, discovered when you'd least expect them. Or snakes that bite their own goddamn tail and form a hoop, chasing children down hills like a venomous bicycle tire gone wild. Glass snakes, you can't even see them, but they can see you even in the dark. Even the more tepid tales are creepy, like the milk snakes that slither into the barn at night to feed from cow teats. Nellie was pumping dust this morning, and damn snakes must have suckled aplenty last night. Anyway, Pete's got good stories, better than my snake stories, and he's a good snake guy. Sure, he told me some pretty tall tales, along with some snake truths that I already knew, but pretended I didn't. And he told me how ultimately what he wanted to do was destigmatize his favorite creature. As a child, he'd studied everything he could find about a snake at the library, and now goes around with his bars group, showing kids, and most of all their parents, that the snakes ain't so bad. He hopes to see people share his passion, as one-sided as it may be. I'm fascinated with them, he said, but they could care less about me. They don't return a favor. They don't appreciate a petting or a feeding, and it's not the kind of pet you can take out and play ball with. It's a snake.